Okay, so I'm going to talk about hedgehogs. Fun story, my sister bought one and then she got too busy with her schedule, so I ended up acquiring a hedgehog for about 1.5 years. So I had to do this whole crash course on figuring out how to take care of a hedgehog. So basic information, the African pygmy hedgehog is the most common type used for pets. So whenever you see pictures on the internet of hedgehogs, it's usually this one. It's not actually a breed, it's a mixture of 2 breeds. So I don't know if they just use this term. I don't know exactly why they chose it. But they live up to 4 to 6 years. They can live up to 10. They're sexually mature at 8 weeks. They're nocturnal. They like to keep you awake at night. And they're very active animals. So choosing a hedgehog.
And then you could bake them, I guess.
Another story about that too.
Okay.
So just with any animal, it's important to do your research beforehand and to buy from a reputable breeder. You want to make sure that your animal is healthy. And that you know what you're getting yourself into beforehand. So personalities vary a lot with a lot of different animals. So you need to make sure like everyone has a different style. Like some hedgehogs are very friendly, they want to be handled, some of them not so much. So it's good to kind of get to know the animal and see what their personality is like. You definitely want to make sure your animal is healthy, bright eyes, healthy skin, fur. Just like with any other animal, just make sure they're not sick when you bring them home. The ideal age to get one is 6 to 8 weeks. That's because they're old enough to be weaned, but they are also young enough to where they have time to get used to people and they can kind of recognize you. It's also good to start with a single hedgehog, so you kind of get a better handle for them and they don't have to worry about getting along with other animals. I've heard that female hedgehogs can get along together, but the different genders, 1, you might end up with baby hedgehogs accidentally, and 2, they have fighting issues. So Hedgehog Care. Like I said, they're active, so large cages are good. Multi-level cages are also good. Like the one we have at home has a couple of different ramps you can go up. Exercise wheels, because they do like to run around. And then exercise balls are another fun thing, just like a gigantic hamster ball you run around the house. They like that. So aspen and pine shavings are good. You can't use cedar. There's some sort of toxicity issue with that, so you stay away from that. Some hedgehogs actually can be litter trained. Haven't figured out how to teach mine how to do that, but some hedgehogs can do it. It's a personality type of issue, like training rabbits. Their ideal temperature is 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The rule of thumb is if you're comfortable in a t-shirt, then they should be fine. But you also can't let their temperature get below 72 to 70 degrees. That's because they will attempt to hibernate, but they're not set up for it, so that will kill them. Not fun. You can also give hedgehogs baths. They'll occasionally need it just being in their bedding all the time. So right here, just put them in a sink full of warm water and some like baby shampoo. You can use a toothbrush to get in between the quills, rinse them out. Some hedgehogs love it. They'll do the whole flip them on their back and they'll float. Some of them just kind of want to run around. And also their nails will get long, so you just trim them. They're not overly fond of that, but one of the things you have to do. All right, handling. So if you're trying to figure out how to pick up something that's completely covered in quills, you just got to take it slow and expect that you will get prickled at least once. So you got to approach them slowly. They have really terrible eyesight. Just kind of scoop under their belly so that it gives them time. Well, one, their belly's not the prickly part, so that's good. And then it gives them time to kind of adjust to your scent and realize that you're not going to kill them. It's recommended not to wear gloves because it interferes with your scent, so they won't recognize that you're actually their owner picking them up. Patience is good. Not all of them are super friendly, and they will puff up and when they're not sure of you. So just don't get frustrated with them. Eventually they will like you. And with any animal, personality differences affect how much they want attention, just like people. Diet is interesting. They do make hedgehog formulations for food, but you can also give them high-protein, low-fat cat food, which is what we feed ours. Just make sure it's a decent quality. Don't just get the ones that just say cat food. You can also give them fruits and veggies and mealworms as treats. It was cautioned, don't give them a lot of mealworms because eventually that's all they'll want and they won't eat their food.
Now are those mealworms, because I'm pretty ignorant, are they alive or are they dead?
No, they're dried.
They're
like
dried.
You can go and get them at PetSmart. They have
You
them
can
like
give them live.
Yeah, a lot of
crickets,
people
too.
feed
Yeah.
live as well.
So like
Live, feeding live would
yeah,
be okay?
right. And, well, yeah, you can feed them live mealworms or crickets. They're just really slow. So like at my internship, we normally feed them live, but I'll like kind of put the cricket in a corner so that way it can't get out.
Okay, okay.
And then it'll get it, but
Because I would say live would be
it's
tastier
really
than
funny to watch
dry.
them eat them.
Yeah, we touch them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so those are some options for food.
Mhm.
And then health concerns. The biggest one's obesity. Normal hedgehog for scale, definitely not normal hedgehog. That's like 4 hedgehogs. It also, one of the websites said that they can get cancer. They can also get fleas just like other animals, so you need to be careful of that. Respiratory infection if you have really dusty bedding and they're breathing it in, or if it gets too cold. And then the hibernation, like I mentioned earlier, if it gets too cold, they will attempt to hibernate, and if you don't warm them up in time, they will die. Hair dryers work really well to warm up hedgehogs, really cool, by the way.
The hedgehog, the hairdryer does what?
We had the hedgehog that, she got a little too cold.
Oh, I see, okay.
And
warm
you
them
can
up.
tell because they're really sluggish.
Yeah,
So I picked her up and put her in a towel and I put a hair dryer.
Okay, good.
She got warmed up.
Yeah.
That works if you can survive that condition.
Does anyone have any questions?
Much better. Okay, yeah.
And those are references.
Now, did you say where they're native to? Where are hedgehogs coming from?
They come from a little bit of everywhere.
I mean, were they found one place in the world? I guess I'm not sure.
I think South America and Africa are
Okay,
kind of
so-
where they started, but
Okay.
they kind of have like,
They're
they're,
gone all over now.
Yeah.
Okay. I just couldn't remember if they were native to some country. Yeah, I think we had a hedgehog in 446 this semester already from the couple of them that live in the zoo, the Columbia Park.
Well, if they like hot, hot temperatures so much,
Yeah.
it'd have to be in like
Yeah.
tropical. or
Tropical,
desert.
around the equator, I think. Other questions, comments about hedgehogs?
You can scrub a hedgehog.
I've
can-
seen that.
Can you do what?
You can scrub a hedgehog.
Oh, scruff a
Yeah,
hedgehog.
especially like if it's easier if they're in water at first, because they'll pull their quills up and you can just scrub them.
And around the neck area, there's less quills or they're softer?
No, I mean
Like
there's
go
still quills,
around
but
the
you can go
quills.
around them easier.
Oh, I see.
Especially
Oh.
like when they're in water, they'll pull their quills up on the side.
Oh, I
Then
got
you
you.
can scruff them, and it's really because once you scruff them, they calm down, so you can get a hold of them and clip their nails.
Okay.
Because
okay.
otherwise they don't like you clipping their nails, and they'll roll up in their little ball and break
Yeah,
them.
just scruff them, okay. Okay,
Do you let your hedgehogs play tubing?